the knowledge of students or skills of students is always $1,000,000 question. After watching this video, you really understand there is an effect which is called Pygmalion effect. All of us would have read this Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw. So focusing on that, it has been an effect which has been introduced. Yeah, Mrs. Ashwini, just I have to share the screen. I've not started to share the screen. Yeah, I'll do that. Yes. So Pygmalion effect. Pygmalion effect is something where it is like a coin of two sides. You know, it will really make students to motivate. Sometimes it will really demotivate. So Pygmalion effect is something where most of us really think you take a student and we really believe that the child would really do wonderfully. And with that intention, with that connotation, we always look at that child, thinking that child would always do wonders. Whereas if you take a slow learner, I don't call anybody slow learner. A person who is not in the mood of doing it right now at the right time would always be judged in a different way. So that is called Pygmalion effect. As I said, it will always make the student as well as destroy the ability of the students. So assessment is something where you're going to shifting your assessment to grow higher level thinking. And all of us really accept the truth that once we go back to our normalcy, once we get back to our classroom, I'll tell you, our children, our students are more talented than us when it comes to technology. They'll be always good at technology. Even by this time, we have analyzed their capability of using technology, getting into technology in various wonderful ways. So as a teacher, especially as an English teacher, we have to always update our knowledge when it comes to technology. Even we are completely advanced and all of us really accept it because we never thought, most of us started to watch a lot of YouTube videos. We would have watched a few videos before this pandemic time, before this COVID. And now we started to have everything. Even it was very difficult to access this Google Meet when we all started. Now it is somewhat in a jiffy, we could do it. So if our case, we are not digital natives and we are going to teach digital natives. So they are wonderful. They are wonderful when they started to use this technology. So I'm going to tell you the technology or the tools which already we have been using it. And I'm going to tell you what are the other techniques to be adopted to use this tool to make students understand, hey, listen, even I'm far excellent than you. So let us see what we're going to do it and how we are going to do it. And this is what assessment is all about. Most generally, we always talk about formative and summative. And these are various types of assessment you have. It's multi. Most of the assessment would have really worked out in the class without knowing the name of the assessment. That's what I would say. We always go for is multiple choice again. It's a very common assessment mode. And you have a visual representation. Most of the time, because we English teachers always filled with a lot of innovative ideas. We all filled with a lot of creativity, as been mentioned in Bloom's taxonomy. Because we language teachers are we wanted to do something in a very different way. We are known for it. And you have all the, you can look at the screen and you find all these types of assessment tests are being conducted knowingly or unknowingly in the classroom. And you ask question, every time we ask question, and it is always a way of assessing. And now it is not possible. And you know that most of you would be using in the classroom right now, just called Mentimeter, right? And you really test the, I don't say the skill, at least the understanding quotient of students by posing this particular quiz to the students so that they would really answer. And then you understand, yes, you are on the right track and we are also on the right track and even our students are on the right track to listen to us. So this one I use, which is called this mind map, mindmap.com. I'll show you how it is. Now, if you want to test the vocabulary of your students, right? Vocabulary, again, assessment, it is not only the right. As I said, it's like formative, summative. These two things are very generally used in our classroom, and it is always more than summative and formative. You have a lot of other tests to test the knowledge of the students, to understand the skill development of our students. What is assessment, by the way? Assessment is a key component of all education system. It is a way to evaluate the knowledge or the skill of the students, so that it is always a yardstick to understand whether our method is completely, because we teachers, there is no hard and fast rule to be adopted in the classroom. All of us accept that. There is no one particular method of teaching. You have varied and multi-dimensional methods we really use. So this assessment is always helpful for the policymakers, for the administrators, for the college administrators to derive a policy or derive a standardized assessment form to evaluate the knowledge of the students. I would say the knowledge, fine, whether it is hard or soft. And going back to this formative assessment is what we have been doing. If you have CAT 1, CAT 2, all the model exams, just because you want to test the knowledge of the students now and then. And the summative is something where our kids are facing this board exam, and it is always an amalgamation of everything. It is not the wholesome knowledge of the students being tested at the summative assessment. Okay, just like briefing, because we know this. And when you're going to talk about assessment, two things are very important: reliability and validity. How we are going to validate it? It's all statistical part, but how we are going to rely, because we have to understand the mood of the students. The interest, or you say this, the understanding of the students. For example, if a child has been given a image and you are asking the child to describe the image, or narrative part, or narrate the image, so you're going to, it depends upon the mood of the child. It's like one way of this, only you give one test and you ask the students to do it, and that is not going to be the right evaluation of that particular student. So you have to understand that you have to go for 3 or 4 tests, and then you understand that this is the level of. So you can't brand anybody saying that this child is a slow learner, and this child has got this higher order thinking skills. So it is not in the way, because again, it is the way of, like that advertisement shows, it's like how we are going to make it really possible for the students to learn, especially English teachers. As I said, validity, how we are going to have this validity. So for example, the child would be, I'll tell you, I'm very sure students are going to come back with a bang to our classroom. Might be their communicative part will be completely at stake, but I'll tell you, the knowledge wise has been completely amazing, because they started to have very good exposure when it comes to technology. Even though you have the darker side, I'm not going to talk about that. So it's like they're going to come up in a way where they would be knowing a lot. And one thing is, this is always lethargy would be there, fine. So when you look at those kids, when you look at look at our students, they're going to come back with a lot of knowledge, imbibing. They would have imbibed a lot of, they would have learned a lot of unlearned things. And I strongly believe that. I think all of you really accept it. Because it's like, when by this time, it's like, if you want to conduct, all of us will go for this. All the colleges have been giving a lot of webinars, and you go for invite. I'll tell you, sometimes it is very difficult for us to do it. And if you ask a child of your class, and come on, you create an invite. In a jiffy, the child creates an invite on the mobile phone. You have a lot of application. Most of the students who really know what are the application to be used. And you want to improve the English language, they go for an application which is called Cake. And they really download the application after checking the the time of downloading process. They know how to download an application, I would say. And you tell me, yes, it's like all of them are not really aware of it. Yes, but 75% of students are really aware of using the applications, using mobile phone in all right sense. Okay. So when you talk about assessment, yes, I said various types of assessment, fine. When you talk about assessment, how will you, because framing a question to understand the knowledge of the students is always a difficult task, very difficult task to frame a question to understand the creativity of a student. So I'm giving you the steps which has been really evolved to create, to frame a question for your students, through which you're going to understand the knowledge building of the student. So you have to focus, how we are going to have frame a question. Most probably we always say discuss the title, discuss the theme of the story. So I mean, it would be always, examination point of view, it was always fine because they write the essay. Ultimately, they write the essay for the a question and they get marked. And more than that, now when you're going to assess the child, not in the intention of marking, giving mark to the student, it is always making the child to learn how to learn the language. I will tell you, it's like questions are very important. You have to make children to think, rethink to answer the question. You have all the steps, 6 steps. How will you improvise that question? What sort of answer? For example, when you get a question, when the question is being posed to you, how do you answer? What sort of, because I always believe for all the question you have an answer. And you can't say this is the right answer. Sometimes a child would have given the answer for the wrong question. But how are you going to evaluate it? So again, you be in the shoe, in the position of a student and understand how is that. If I'm going to pose this question, how is that it is going to be? You have to improvise it. And you have to understand the reflection. It has been completely reflected. If I'm going to give this question to the student, fine. What sort of development I could find, in the child, in the student? That's going to be the next question. So framing questions, and making them to understand the questions, all very important tasks to be noted. Just like that you can't, because now we really rely more on this MCQ. And as an English teacher, you can test the grammatical aspects of students when you're going to use MCQ. How is it you're going to test the creativity skill of students when you're going to give MCQ? Again, I'll tell you, for the examination point of view, you always go for that. We always use this MCQ because we have to give mark, and fine. But beyond that, ultimately at the end of the year, what is that our students have learned from us? That is very important. Okay. And you have all the questions, like it is related performance-based task you can give, and multiple choice questions, and technology-based responses. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to tell you anything because I'm going to tell you how to use Google Forms, how to use Google Docs. And if you're really expert, it's all self-learning, I would say, because we teachers are always good at self-learning. We really explore. So that's what's going to happen now. And just when I talk about questions, I would like to talk about this Chinese entrance exam, which is otherwise called National Higher Education Entrance Examination. Most of you would have heard about it. It is an exam which will really take place for 3 days, 2 or 3 days, for nearly 10 hours. When you look at the questions of this examination, you'll be completely surprised. The questions really make students to think and write. Their experience is going to be the answer for the question. How they are going to translate their thoughts, how they are going to translate their emotion, how they are going to translate their experience would be the questions. I have taken some of the samples here. You look at the question. Some of you would have tried, like this. How would Thomas Edison react to the mobile phone? You have to write an essay on this for about 800 words. So if you're going to give a question to this, the child should really know who Thomas Edison is or was. And then the mobile phone is always an in thing. The child will talk more about mobile phone. How will you relate this mobile phone with this scientist? So you're going to find the answer out of it. And I'm very sure child will not write for 800 words, but at least the attempt would be always there to think. So framing question will always make students to think. Again, I'll tell you, ultimately our purpose is to make students to get good marks or pass mark. More than that, at the end, I'm not talking about the examination point of view, is how is that you're going to evaluate when it comes to what the child has learned at the end of the semester. That's very important. And look at the, I took another question here, yes. And there is another question. During your time in high school, there must be something you cannot forget, be it a heated argument with your classmates or the inspiration from others. So how is that you're going to answer? So you teachers frame questions will really make students to think. And this is going to be our question. And they really answer. They really answer when you're going to have any question which is always textual based. They could answer really well. But you have to allow them to think and write. They should really bring out their creativity when they're going to write the answer. And Bloom's taxonomy, most of us really know about because we are getting into this OBE system. So outcome-based education is being completely based on this theory. And the last one is always creativity. And this creativity is always very important for English teachers. Not only English teachers, all the language teachers. We are born for that. We are going to discuss Google Form, Google Docs, and Blogger, Google Sites, a Mentimeter. Mentimeter, most of you will be doing, would have done in the classroom. And you have this mindmap.com, which I said I use this to show the second slide. And they have the quiz analysis. And today we really have Google Form, Google Doc, a Blogger. And Google Blog you have. Fine. Yes. Yeah, before we get into this, see, as an English teacher, we always say it's like all the essential skills should be tested. It's like you have this receptive as well as protective skills and LSRW. You categorically divide 4 skills into 2, receptive and protective. Fine. So we are going to develop the skills of the students. We're going to test the skills of the students. And we're going to do it. First, you have a lot of applications. I'll tell you, you have a lot of applications. Lot of websites. So we are very familiar, much familiar with Google Form. So I thought I would start with this Google Form and Google Doc. Let us start with Google Doc. This, the speciality of this Google Docs. And it's the one which is being collaborated. You can collaborate with your students. You can collaborate with your colleagues. They can work on one particular page. And more than that, you have a lot of other applications or other techniques to be used to test the skills of the students. Is my screen visible, Dr. Walter?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. This is the document, right? So we're going to have the document. First, you check everything. Yeah, fine. First, you have the file, and so normal. It's always it goes like MS Word. And you have this edit, and you go to this insert. Before that, you really test this add-on. It's like otherwise it is called extension. You have lot of add-ons, and if you want to know about add-ons, just look at this. All these are extensions, and if you want, you can do it. But I'm not going to get into this. Without using extensions, you can use Google Doc extensively. So this Google Doc, for example, you're going to have a document. For example, you wanted to test the writing skill of the students, or you want to test the speaking skill of the of your students. So if the speaking skill is the form, you can really, it's a task which you can go for voice typing. So you really click it, and you can go for your own text. So you can ask the students to read a passage. After the completion of reading the passage, they can share the doc with you or share the link with you. Right? See, it has been always a way of making students to type. Because here it's like, I'll tell you how they write and upload it using this Google form. It's a different one. And here, when you look at this, it is a way of testing the speaking skill, the pronunciation part, because our pronunciation, the student's pronunciation should be always been tested, because you have the words have been typed according to your pronunciation. So, and the child may do the retyping or go for changing the word. It can happen. Anyhow, you find the authenticity that even the student can self-evaluate, they really change the pronunciation part or the reading speed of the student. So this is one way of testing the speaking skill of your students. And when you look at this, you have yes. For example, you wanted to have a translate document. For example, you wanted to test, it's like a comparative study you wanted to do, anything. Because again, I'll tell you, it is all your creativity. How is that you're going to? I'm going to tell you, these are the ways you can use the docs to test the skills of the students. And it is how you're going to use the tool, and what sort of task you're going to use using this tool. So you have enough freedom to decide what sort of task you're going to use in the classroom. And when you're going to have the translated, the document, you can go for the, choose the language. You have to choose the language. I go for Tamil. Is it visible? Is the Tamil screen visible? No.
No, ma'am. It's in English.
Now?
No, now the screen has stopped. You have stopped sharing.
Okay. Yes, I was telling you, I think now the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. So I was telling you like how you are going to use this translate tool. You have this translate document. You're going to choose Tamil or any other language. Yes, they translate. So you have this.
Yes. Now
You're going to, yes. Very easily be translated. You can use, So I'll tell you, it's like Google Doc is something is really amazing. You can work with this, and you pop up with a lot of ideas. So when you're going to test the knowledge, again, it's not only English. It's like the foreign languages. Your department. I mean, we really bilingualism is always an in thing. So you can ask students to translate a passage which is in Tamil or Hindi, and they can do it. And again, they do it on their own, and then they can test the translate part. Sometimes some of the translated sentences has always been hilarious. So yeah, this is one way. Okay, and the next one is a voice typing, Google Translate document, and spelling and error, the grammar. So a child, you really wanted to teach the grammatical components to the students, or you are going to ask the student to check the the grammar part. So you know that there is one application which is called Grammarly. When you're going to download, most of the kids would have downloaded this Grammarly to the mobile phone, so that when they type something, they don't want to worry about the spelling or grammar part. Automatically, it been auto corrected. So here the same method has been adopted. Here it's like if you ask a child to write and you wanted the child to test the grammatical components or the error there in the grammatical aspects, very easily the child can go for this tool where it has been completely tested. So, for example, okay, so I'm typing this. Okay. So I'll tell you this one, compare documents, and then we'll get into that. And you have this compare documents. And compare documents is something where the files are being, when you really send a file to your student and you want to understand that how the child has written it for the first time and how it has been written for the second time. So you want to go for the comparative study on the same topic, this technique, this tool can be adopted so that the first file will be always being compared with the second file. As I don't have the copies here, so okay, you have it. And you wanted to go for compare study. So you click, it's like you have it. I have only one here. So you can understand this comparative thing. So both the pages are really compared, and you don't find any sort of similarity here because one is in Tamil, the other was in English. So you find, so it has been completely tested. Everything has been completely evaluated. When you're going to use such tools, teachers, evaluation part has been a little bit reduced because you have everything. It's not only for the teaching purpose, even for the research purpose, you have all the tools here. Whether you want to convert your bibliography into MLA or the APA or Chicago, very easily you can do it. I think some of you would have really tried that tool. And this is how you have to do this comparative study. And the spelling, again, the dictionary part, you can go for your own selection of words. You can choose the word. You can create your own repository of words where in which or through which you really test the vocabulary of the students. And you want to explore. And you want to explore, these are the points, these are the words I've used here. You wanted to explore, you can click on this so that you get all sort of links related to that particular topic. So it is a way of making students to connect. It's like, it's not they have to go to the tab and then check the particular title or the topic. They can really have the topic on the other side of the screen. And you have this accessibility. I'll tell you this. You have this accessibility settings, and even uh, kids who are visually challenged would really use this. And you can turn on this braille system. So when you're going to type something, it is automatically being the voice over you get, so that the child really listen to the voice and could answer. So even that is possible when you're going to use this uh, Google Doc. And you have this line spacing, as we know that it's very common there on MS Word, yeah. And you can citation, yes. And you have the citation, add citation source. So if it is print or website or online database, you can select that, and then accordingly you can go for this. You want to add another contributor. So it is the way. It's like this. Usually we use a tool to do this, as Medley or whatever. It's like we've been using it, and now it is always handy because this Google Doc has got everything. So if you're going to have it, this is going to be the citation of this MLA format. And if you want to have this APA, you have it. If you're going to have this Chicago, you have it. So it's a way of, it's even for your research work, it'll be really useful. And this is how you have to, it's like when you want to have the suggestion, for example, you want to suggest, you say it's like, I want to give a comment over one particular statement or sentence, and you can go for it. And you can give your opinion, you can give your suggestion. And once everything is ready, you always go for sharing. You share. Most of the time, it is the way that you have to share with a particular, you have to share the link with your students, and might be you post it on this Google Classroom. And I'll tell you, it is like tomorrow we'll discuss is Google Sites, and more than that, it is not the link which you want to do. As I said, we want to be a little bit different. So you are going to change this norm, change to anyone with the link. You're going to have it. You're going to copy this link, and you're going to copy this link. I'll tell you, you can go to this QR code generator, and you're going to have this. You can open this website, and you're going to paste the URL here. Automatically, you will have a QR code. And if you want to have this dynamic QR code, you can change. You have to sign in with your Google account, so that automatically it will get changed. So if you want to try this, if you have your mobile and you have your QR code, when you scan this QR code, it will take you to the Google form, the particular Google form, Google Doc, which we worked on. So when you're going to paste this, you're going to copy this and paste this in the Google Classroom. It's a way of making students to understand that you are a little bit far behind. I mean, forward. You're marching forward. So with this, it's like you self-explore. You start to learn a lot about it. By yourself, you can really understand what are the other important techniques have been adopted by this Google Doc, and very few are really helpful to test the skills of the students, whether it is listening or reading or writing or speaking. Again, when it comes to speaking, it's a very easy method of turn on caption. For example, you have a Google Meet, or you don't have a Google Meet, and you ask the students to upload the video there to your Google Classroom, and ask the child to go for this Google Meet. And the Google Meet, when the child is, she's the only person on the classroom or on the Meet. So it's like you can ask the child to turn on the caption. When the child turns on the caption, whatever she speaks, it reflects on the screen. So it's a way of understanding how she reads. It has been asked her to record this Google Meet or Zoom or whatever. So it is it's a way of, you can look at the voice of you can listen to the voice of the student, as well as you can look at the turn on caption. So how the child has been, you can really test the communication part of the student, or the pronunciation part of the student. So it has always been auto-corrected, automated, so that it is a way of you really analyze the capacity of the students. So it is always very difficult. You can ask me, ma'am, how could it's always all the videos are being really tested? It is always a difficult task, but I tell you, when you start it in an initial way, it is always interesting to test, because each child will always upload a video for or 1 or 2 minutes. It's more than enough. So you can ask the students to speak 10 sentences. So the child will really talk, on a particular topic. So that will be always been reflected or be, on the screen. That's been recorded and it has been sent across to the teacher. So that can be done. And again, so let us move on to this Google form. And before we get into Google form, I would like to tell you, yes, a few things about this blog. Many of you would be doing maintain your own blog. You're all bloggers too. So I'll tell you how this blog is really helpful for students to develop this writing, speaking, um, reading. So you have this. These 9 dots, I tell you, are really amazing. You can go for anything. You can go for Google Map, where really you can ask the students to explain something about a particular map. So the child will come out with her own narration. So you have this Google blogger. Then you have this Google blog. Most of us, when you want to have a new post, you can go for new post. So we really type here and then we publish it. So when you're going to publish it, before that, it's like you want to do something and you can ask the students to do it. So it is the way of, I'll tell you how it is. You want to insert the link, whichever you want to, you can go for. Before that, it's like you have this photos, it's normal one. And again, you have this application where you want to talk about, you want something to be narrated, something to be really described by your students. You can go for it. And you want to draw something here, you can ask, and you want to find out the particular word here. And you have this. So, it is not that you have to download an application to write in Tamil. You can do it. So it is a way of, like, you want to use this emoji. We can go for it. So you wanted to make it. I'm giving you example. You can go for anything. You have everything here. So you have one thing called input tools. Okay. So you want to try. It's a way of learning another language too. So, for example, you wanted to have this, Hindi. You want to give a few sentences in Hindi or few words in Hindi. You have the board. So on the board, you can write. For example, it is not you have to go for, but it's again, you know, uh, yeah, you have it here. So Okay, fine. So we are going to write it here. You write using your mouse. It's like be reflected on the screen. So the same way how you really use this particular tool, the same way you can use the board to write something. So you can use this, or if you are very good at using stylus, you can use stylus so that you can whatever if you want to draw or you want to. I mean, most probably they always go for this letters. So if you want to have it, and you can make use of this. So ultimately, it's like how you're going to be highly creative to make students to learn certain things. And this blog, again, you want to copy it down, you want to send it across, again, you want to publish it. After you publish it, the link will be shared and you can share the link with your students. If you're going to share the link or you're going to have this QR code, depends upon your interest. So again, you want to have the link here, this YouTube link. YouTube, it's like you have created your own YouTube channel and you have your own YouTube channel and you've created a lot of videos. You can make use of that. Now, again, to make the students to write answers for your related to your YouTube video, you can make use of the Google form too. And you can ask the students to write. Sometimes they'll be using mobile phones. They will not good at typing. It's very difficult to type the words. So you can ask them to, ask them to upload it to your Google Classroom. The same way you can ask students to upload it to your Google Form. So that we will discuss tomorrow. We'll discuss Google Form as well as Google Sites. Google Sites is again an amazing site. It can be used for your academic purpose. It can be used for your professional purpose. So you're going to have your own website. So for example, it's like running our own website is always difficult task again. But this Google Sites really has made us to understand that it is always a dream come true of technique where you have your own website. So use your website and you can have number of pages. You can share the link in the form of a link or as a QR code. You can ask students to get into this and you have number of pages, and all the pages really talk about testing the skills of the students. And you can ask, for example, you can ask the student to upload this particular question to the Google form, and the Google form link will be shared or being pasted on one of the pages. So that we will discuss tomorrow. Google Sites and Google Form we'll discuss tomorrow. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
So if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting to see so many tools that are actually which we see in our daily apps tray, Google Apps tray, but we don't really use them, and it's so easily accessible. And there are so many features like you mentioned, which many of us don't even know about. Like it was very interesting to see the translation feature. I think I might have used it once or twice before, but I think a lot of us have not gone through all the features. Google Docs itself has so many features, that very interesting now, and especially Blogger and all that, really beneficial for the students, especially. If we really do use them, to the full benefit. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was quite interesting. Quite interesting session. Participants, I kindly request the participants to post your queries, if any. If you have any questions related to the apps or the features that were shown, ma'am could probably take up a few questions. So please post your queries, if any, in the chat stream, or you can also unmute your mics and directly address our resource person for the day. Ma'am, meanwhile, let me just I just wanted to put a small question. You were showing the mic feature in Google Docs. That was quite interesting. The mic feature, can that also be used to directly translate? Like if I, for example, if I want to translate something from English to another language, if I speak using the mic feature, can I use the translation to directly convert what I speak to the target language? Is that also possible in Google Docs?
Yeah, yes, it is possible. When you have this Google Translate, I think you have an application as well as a free version available. Free version, in sense, is website version available. And in that, it's always possible. Whatever you speak, it has been completely translated. You go for your language. For example, you use English, and but the word should be translated in English. It happens, sir. It is possible.
So you don't necessarily have to put in your text to get it translated. You can also use the mic feature and speak.
A mic feature to do it. Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
And you have to go for the option. You have to choose what is the language to be translated. So that can be done, sir. You can use this Google Translate. Yes.
That's interesting.
Thank you, sir.
There's a question, ma'am, here.
Yes, sir.
How can collaborative writing be helpful? This is by Dr. Ramalakshmi.
Collaborative writing. That's a question, right?
How can collaborative writing be helpful?
Helpful using these tools, sir.
I think that's Ramalakshmi, ma'am. You can unmute your mic and you can.
Like, how can collaborative writing be helpful to assess the individual students, like skill or knowledge in writing with these tools?
Ma'am, collaborative writing is something where it's always, the collaborator, the doc is always known for collaborative. It's always been called collaborative work because it's like you can one screen and you can ask students to contribute a lot. Again, you have restriction because when you find a lot of students being completely handling one particular doc, it is always a messy one. So you can have different screens and then you can share it, whether it is going to be QR or link or whatever. And you can ask students to have, if it is very, very perfect enough, you can go for a number of pages. You can allot pages to the students. And then, so that all of them really know what others have really contributed. That is really possible using this Google Doc. This collaborative writing is really possible. So how we are going to channelize it is, again, a very important point to be noted.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is a general question by Madam Ashwini. What is your opinion on semester exams through the online mode? This is a
very tricky and complicated question. I know.
The big question.
Yeah. Yes. And I know. Again, children are very happy. Students are very happy, not teachers. Actually, I would say that like online exams.
Exactly.
Kids are really loving to, they really love to take up the exam online. So with that note, I would say it's like best you can guess, Professor Ashwini.
Question, one more question, ma'am. Can we also have paraphrasing? Is that, do you mean in Google Docs, sir?
Paraphrasing, sir?
I think it is posted by Fani Kumari. Ma'am, do you mean paraphrasing in Google Docs? I think that is what the participant means, ma'am. Can we have paraphrasing?
Paraphrasing in sense, it's like, how is it, sir? It's like, can Professor
participant can unmute the mic.
Yes, madam. Good evening, madam. Good evening, madam.
Good evening, ma'am.
Ma'am, for example, the World English paras are there, and if we get paraphrase for World English, ma'am, just not a translation, because it is also English. Some of Shakespearean dramas and other old writers' dramas, we couldn't understand the English properly. Can we get paraphrasing for those paragraphs, ma'am? In Google Docs.
Pani ma'am, very sorry. I could get only last part of your question. Dr. Walter, can you?
Madam, Shakespeare dramas, we couldn't understand complete drama, madam. And can we get paraphrase for those paragraphs in Shakespeare dramas and other old English words, ma'am?
Okay, paraphrasing for old English. Like for Shakespeare.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, like Shakespeare, you want to paraphrase the old text, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that is what she means, ma'am.
Paraphrasing the whole text, I don't think it's possible using this Google Doc, ma'am. It's like you can go for translated form, but you can't have the paraphrase as such, because you are going to give the text, you're going to give the resource to the screen, and then the screen really work on it, whether it is being translated one or whatever, you can do it. But again, you can go for editing part, you can go for suggestion. You have on the screen, you have on your right, you have the suggesting one. So when you're going to suggest the comment, you're going to suggest your own paraphrasing mode, you can go for it. You can strike the line, you can include, you can delete. That can be done using this Google Doc, man. As it's you're going to paraphrase the whole thing, I guess it is not possible as it's. It may come in future, man, because they really work on it. Because Google is always a system which has been working on it, every minute. So it may come, ma'am. It may come in future, sure.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Your lecture is very useful, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
A general question, another question by Suganya ma'am is, which one is better for research scholars of English, Microsoft Word or Google Docs?
Microsoft Words
or Google Docs is better?
Yes, Subhashini, Professor Subhashini, right, sir?
Professor Suganya.
Suganya, yeah, Professor Suganya. It's like MS Word is always very personal that you can't share. It's always been a customized one. Whereas when you're going to have this Google Docs, it is always a collaborative work. And for example, it is again, you can share it. Only the link can be shared. Sometimes you share the link and the editing part will not be done. You can ask the person to be the viewer of your particular document, which can be viewed by others, and they can give their opinion on your research work. So to go to
the features are also much more, no, ma'am? The features are also much more on Google Docs.
Yes, sir. So I would say it is always a collaborative one. It is always going to the next level of understanding more of your research work. I would say Google Doc is good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, is there possible to plagiarize our text while using Google Docs?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Ma'am, is there any chances to plagiarize our works when we use Google Docs?
Plagiarism, to check plagiarism, is it?
Yeah, ma'am.
Plagiarism, again, on Google Doc, it is not actually. But again, when you want to compare, when you find there is another similar doc which is related to you, that comparison is always be done. So all the repeated words will be completely highlighted and would be shown that there is plagiarism there on the screen. That is possible. As we do with plagiarism checker, you really run your document and you really test what is the percentage of our originality. That cannot be done using Google Doc, but the comparative thing. But for example, you find the same source somewhere, you're going to copy it, you're going to paste it on one doc, and you're going to have your own resource on another doc, and you go for comparative, instantly you will find how original your work is. That can be done.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
If there are any other questions, you can ask them now, or we can wind up the session for today. I would like to gently remind the participants that this is a two-day workshop. So we will be resuming the workshop tomorrow, and we will have Beena ma'am with us tomorrow also. So if you have any questions, you can ask us or post it in the chat or by email, and we'll be happy to put it up to Beena ma'am tomorrow also.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I think there aren't any other queries, ma'am. I think we can wind up the session. There will not be any feedback form today. We will be posting the feedback form tomorrow at the end of the workshop. I would like to inform the participants that there will not be any feedback today. I will be posting the feedback form tomorrow, so you can register your feedback tomorrow after the workshop is over. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you, Beena ma'am, so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Rama ma'am, Rama Lakshmi.
Thank,
Yeah. Bye-bye.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, sir.